All right. Let's recap a wild day in the NBA. Phoenix Suns versus Los Angeles Clippers, round one of the 2023 Phoenix Suns playoffs. Let's go, everybody. Shout out to the basketball and football guy who says Suns in 6. Shout out to my guy Casey who says, hey, Suns Geek. Appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate everybody who's going to be watching along live. Appreciate everybody who's going to be watching later. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, you guys. I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on the Suns Clippers first round matchup. Then we're going to talk about the voice of the Phoenix Suns, Al McCoy, being honored and retiring after 51 years. We're going to talk about Josh Okogie winning the Dan Marley Hustle Award and just a crazy day in the NBA. And maybe we'll get some of your guys' questions or comments in along the way. So if you guys got questions, comments, concerns, whatever it may be, put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. As always, you guys, let me know if we're sounding okay. Let me know if we're looking okay. I believe so. Shout out to Andrew Tate, just fresh out of jail, who says we could have won the game today, just saying. So I did kind of want to open up with that. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the last game of the season because it's the last game of the season. Nobody cares. The Suns had like 20 people out. But I will give some thoughts. I do have the stats pulled up here just in case, but I did kind of just want to give my thoughts about it. So first off, what an incredible performance it was from the Phoenix Suns bench today. It just performances all around, and obviously that's going to happen when you're missing, your big four and a couple of your role players who get extended minutes sat out. I believe like a lot of the second half. Guys are obviously going to perform, but I just want to start with arguably the Suns player of the game, which was Saben Lee, who played 44 minutes tonight. And I think Monty Williams did tell him that he was going to get a lot of run today. But 44 minutes is insane. He only sat 4 of the 48 minutes in the entire game. That's pretty damn exhausting. I'm sure he's going to sleep well tonight. But yeah, 44 minutes tonight, 25 points, 10 assists, 2 steals, and he hit 3 threes. Now, he was, an inefficient 8 out of 21, but who cares? He was fantastic tonight, super aggressive. The dude is extremely athletic, and I think he just keeps reminding Suns fans that he can play. And even though he is the third string point guard of this team and everything, even though he probably won't see much minutes in the playoffs, if we ever needed him in an emergency situation, I think today he reminded a lot of people that he can play. And he's from Arizona, from Corona del Sol High School, I believe. Forgot where he went to college and everything, but the kid deserves it. He's on a 2-way contract. He got signed for the rest of the season for a reason, and he is just a solid, young, athletic player. And he almost posterized Vika Zubac early in this game, and that's actually what we're going to do first. And then we'll kind of move on because I don't want to spend too much time on this game. There were some incredible highlights. Like, seriously, even though the Suns were missing a lot of players, go watch this game because it was a lot of fun, especially on the Suns side of things. There were some incredible highlight plays, but I do want to react to one highlight play, which in a way wasn't really a highlight because it didn't count. Like, he missed, but we still got to react to it. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting some things pulled up on my end. But let's just react to this. I mean, this was nuts. Let me just make sure y'all can see what I'm looking at. Okay, cool. And I'll get, there we go. Let me just do this, actually. My apologies, you guys. We're going to lower this. I'm going to put that there so y'all can see. Beautiful. That looks good. Okay, let's do this. So I'm sure y'all saw this. I posted it on Twitter. And this would have been one of the highlight dunks, not only of the Suns season, but this would have been one of the highlight dunks of the entire season in the NBA if this would have happened. So here's Saben Lee, blows by Kawhi Leonard, takes off, and look at this. I'm like pausing it in air. Like, this is insane. He took off and almost ended Vika Zubac's career right there. I'm just going to let it keep replaying. Oh my goodness, if he would have gotten this to go down. Holy cow, dude. And Darius Baisley had a poster dunk almost as good. Too bad this one didn't go in, but I just wanted to show you that, you guys. And then I even posted some pictures. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. This is my Twitter account that y'all are looking at. I said, I don't even care that he missed the dunk. He got up. And look at this. These are just screenshots from my phone. Look at this. I mean, he got up. Dude, if that would have went in, that would have been one of the highlight dunks like in the league this season. So just wanted to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Saban Lee. He was excellent tonight, but another player that was excellent tonight. And again, we're not going to spend too much time talking about this game because it just is what it is. Final game of the season. More on that later. Darius Baisley, 27 minutes tonight, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 swats. I mean, I don't know if y'all care what Eddie Johnson has to say, but Eddie Johnson was like, hey, Darius Baisley is reminding, Monty Williams and all them that he deserves more minutes. Now, I believe that Darius Baisley is a contract, or not contract, is a project player is what I'm trying to say. I believe he's a project player. He's still a young guy in this league, but he does have experience. I mean, he did go to the playoffs with Chris Paul with that Thunder team, and he arguably had some pretty good games and some of the best games of his career. And he's long, he's athletic. He had a poster dunk of his own. I guess we can also go to that and react to it too if you guys want to. Let me just find it first. That's actually a nice highlight by Saban Lee too. Saban Lee had this nice little kind of a Euro step dunk too, or a Euro step layup, I should say. But let's find that Darius Baisley highlight, and then we will move on. Also, Jock Landale had a really great game in this game, I thought. Is this the dunk? Yeah, this is the dunk right here. Oh, God, we got to react to this, you guys. This was wild right here. But yeah, Jock Landale had a really good game. Just great performances all around. And look, I don't want to sound too overconfident, but the fact that the Phoenix Suns were playing, their second and third string guys and managed to keep the game as close as it was and almost won the game, I think that shows and reminds a lot of people of how deep this Phoenix Suns team truly is. So here we go. Darius Baisley's got the ball. He finds Saban Lee. Saban Lee drives in, finds the cutting Darius Baisley, who throws it down. Oh my goodness. That's a beautiful angle with the slow-mo. He flexes on him. Darius Baisley. Oh my goodness. And the bench freaking out. There's DeAndre Ayton. Kevin Durant and all them were freaking out too. Oh my, we gotta watch that again. Look at this. Saban Lee drives in, finds the cutting Baisley, and he throws it down. What a dunk by Darius Baisley. But yeah, so again, you guys, just performances all around, highlights all around. Again, I highly recommend to go watch some of these highlights because it was a highlight show. Also some honorable mentions. Landry Shamet, 14 points in 18 minutes, made 3 threes, also had 6 assists. If there's ever a guy that needed a game like tonight, it was Landry Shamet. Hopefully he can warm up and start, actually hitting some damn shots, especially against the Clippers, because we're going to need it. Josh Okogie had 13, 7, and 3. As I mentioned, Jock Landale was really good, 15, 8, and 2. And Terrence Ross had a quiet 13 points in 31 minutes. So enough about that game. Doesn't really matter. End of the season, the Phoenix Suns get their the Phoenix Suns finish the season 45 and 37. And due to the chaotic play-in race, play-in tournament, playoff, the standings and all that stuff, it has been a roller coaster all season. The Phoenix Suns will have a 2021 rematch of the Western Conference Finals due to how things played out, due to the Clippers winning 44 games and losing 38 of them. It will be Suns, Clippers, 4th seed versus 5th seed. Sorry, I got to put my phone on silent. But Suns, Clippers, round 1, y'all. And I just want to start this off by saying, and I mean this as positively as I can. I mean, you guys can think what you want. You can say what you want. I cannot control that. But I just want to remind Suns fans to not take your opponent lightly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the Clippers, they've had injuries, they've been inconsistent, they made a few trades, they got a whole bunch of new pieces, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But this is still a really good team, and they have one of the best, if not the best, two-way player in the league besides Kevin Durant, in Kawhi Leonard. And this is a really well-coached team, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, I think it's extremely unlikely that the Suns would sweep the Clippers, let alone even get out of this in 5 games. Now, I do believe that the Phoenix Suns will beat the Clippers. I don't think I'd be a Suns fan if I didn't believe that. But it's not going to be easy. I don't want Suns fans, thinking, "Oh, we're gonna dominate this, and it's going to be a sweep." As Coda Kid on cue says, "I will." Suns in 4. Like, just keep in mind, y'all. Just remember what happened last year and in previous years, and heck, even in the first round of last year, the Pelicans took us to 6 games. So I just want Suns fans to relax, to not take the Clippers lightly. It is not going to be easy. And the Suns, Chris Paul talked about this recently. Like, the Suns are going to need everybody on deck, and we're going to need guys, like example, a Landry Shamet or a Campaign or a Bismack Biyombo. We're going to need guys like that to step up each and every single night. I'm not too worried about our big 4. And I'm not very worried about Josh Okogie because I know what he can do defensively. I know that he can occasionally get hot on offense. Campaign is a great backup point guard when he's consistent, when he's not playing out of control. Bismack Biyombo has been great. And I truly believe that this game, and really this past week, maybe even the past 2 weeks, have proven how deep of a team, how deep of a roster we have. And I don't care what the national media is saying, and I don't care what all the clickbait headlines and the cliche hot takes or whatever about the Suns roster. If you actually pay attention to the NBA and you actually pay attention to the Phoenix Suns, you know that this is a deep team. The problem is just consistency. And I'm so repetitive at this point in saying, like, we just need shots to start falling, man. Because once they start falling, this team is even deeper than we could have imagined. The good thing is, though, and my thoughts are kind of all over the place, and I am going to talk about the Clippers in a minute. But the good thing is, though, obviously Kevin Durant, Booker, CP3, Ayton sat out the past 2 games. So what? That's an extra 3-4 days of rest. On top of, we have Monday off. We have all week off. We play Sunday. So the Suns, our big 4 has had like 10 days off, if not more, of rest, practice, cooking things up, going over plays. This is going to be a big week for the Phoenix Suns off of the court. It's going to be a big week for the Suns, in practice, because I've talked about this before, y'all. Like, there really isn't much time to practice during the regular season. Sure, you could, count shoot around as a practice, but to get like a full hardcore practice in, go over plays, talk about things and all that, it doesn't really happen that much during the season. So this is going to be a big week. And then, as I mentioned, you could technically say that there's been an extra 4 days for our big 4, 4 or 5 days in terms of rest, shoot arounds, practices, or whatever. By the way, Kevin Durant is hilarious because, especially in tonight's game, every time there was a timeout or something, he was just grabbing the ball and shooting. Kevin Durant is the definition of a true hooper. I love Kevin Durant, man. But I'm excited for it. This is going to be a big week for the Suns, and I just wanted to give my thoughts about that. So real quick, let's get to some comments, y'all. Get your comments in, your questions in. Even if I disagree with you, get them in now. Get your concerns in, whatever you're thinking. Heck, let me know what you're drinking in the chat. I'm drinking Sprite. For you real ones on this channel, you guys know that Sprite is my go-to. So cheers. We got 30 people in here. Been live for about 17 minutes. If you guys are watching later, I truly appreciate it. You guys, I know there's a lot of great Suns content out there. So the best way to support this channel, y'all, is just to keep watching. Hulk smash that like button. But let's continue on. Okay. So the chat's flooding. I'm going to try to get to everybody's comments. I promise. So let's see. So shout out to Stefan, who says, appreciate the stream. Suns Geek, you're goated. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the kind words. Suns King says, we barely lost with our bench. Imagine our core four. It's over in 5. See, I do believe that we will win the series. And it is possible it could be over in 5. And I have something that is going to go along with why I think the series could be potentially over in 5 or 6. And this isn't from a Suns thing. This is something that Kawhi Leonard said. I couldn't believe it when I read it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get to some more comments. Shout out to Coda Kid. Let's see. Juan Paul Edwards says, it means that Monty has these guys ready to compete. Exactly, man. Because that has sort of been, Monty Williams kind of bothered me at some points throughout the season because he'd be like, oh, I didn't have my guys ready and this one's on me. But again, I feel like what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, what we saw in just today's game, shows that these guys are ready and they are ready to contribute. They're waiting for their number to be called. And this game and really the past couple games have been a huge example of that. Okay, let's keep going here. Just getting to some more comments. Darius Baisley has great athleticism and is a great dunker. Exactly. We need Shamet to hit those threes. I agree. Guys, if Shamet doesn't hit threes in the playoffs, yikes. That's all I got to say. Vision Plasma says, I think the Suns need to put the Clips away as fast as possible because I think the longer we prolong it, then the higher chance that it is they bring Paul George back. Great thought there, Vision. Real quick. The latest Paul George update. Keep in mind, I'm recording this on April 9th, about 9:30 my time. There was the clip of him walking in. He had the knee brace on. He looked like he was walking well, but I guess he's going to be reevaluated in a week. So it's kind of a day-by-day thing. Even if he comes back, we don't know the percentage of what he's going to look like if he's going to be 100%. Either way, though, if he comes back, that's great and everything. For them, anyways, it's great for them, but I don't know if we're going to get that 100% Paul George. We're going to have to see. So just stay tuned. I'll try to post about it once we hear about Paul George's status, but it is Vision's right. The longer this series goes, the longer they have time to make their adjustments. And Paul George comes back. And when Paul George comes back, those are two of the best players, him and Kawhi, offensively and defensively, and they are a much better team with both of those guys healthy. So let me just make sure. Subak says the Suns shouldn't take any team lightly and shouldn't act like a championship is given to them. Exactly, because that's exactly what happened last year, and we got our butts kicked. Logan says, keys to this series. How soon does Paul George come back, and can our bench produce above as the same level as LA? Do they get Westbrook or Bestbrook? That's a tongue twister. Say that 5 times fast. Hey Dot Zero says, calm down with the Suns and 4 stuff. I agree. Coda Kid says DA is going to go off in the playoffs. We're going to need DeAndre Ayton to go big in the playoffs. Okay. Comments are all caught up now. Let me talk about the Clippers. And look, I don't want to sound like a know-it-all. I'm far from that. I just have the facts and stats in front of me, and I give my opinion. So take this as you will. As I mentioned, Clippers won 44 games this year. And a great stat here from Sam Cooper over at the Timeline podcast. They do a great job over there. He made a good point, maybe a couple hours before I did this live show. Post All-Star break and post Russell Westbrook trade to the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard's warming up. He's averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 54% shooting, 47% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. So shout out to Sam Cooper for that stat. And again, we already talked about Paul George and how big he is to this team. But even if he's not playing, you guys, Norman Powell's a guy that's been injured a little bit, but he had 29 points tonight. He had 27 points recently. Just another key player on their team that can score, can do a lot of things out there. They obviously got Russell Westbrook. You know, who knows what he's going to look like, but does he seem to play harder against the Suns? Is he going to play even harder with, you know, his old teammate out there, Kevin Durant? I believe we're going to get a different looking Russell Westbrook, who also has been playing pretty well since he went over the Clippers. Um, Former Phoenix Sun Marcus Morris, Eric Gordon, veteran in this league, can hit some shots, do a lot of things out there. I'm a big fan of Ivica Zubac. I don't know why, I just am. I think he's a serviceable center in this league. He's a big body, can set screens, do a lot of things out there. Bones Highland always plays hard. Terrence Mann, who has experience against us. Remember, he was in the Western Conference Finals in 2021. I think before the Western Conference Finals, he had like a 41-point game a couple of years ago. Luke Kennard, 3-point shooter. Mason Plumlee, Nick Batum, Robert Covington. They got themselves a deep roster, and they're also well coached by Tyronn Lue and the rest of that coaching staff. So it is going to be tough, y'all. And this is, I mean, every playoff series is all about matchups, but this is going to be a tough series. I did talk about Norman Powell, Andrew, just now. By the way, sorry, I just wanted to address that real quick. And this is another reason I want to talk about the matchups. Rod brings up KD will guard Kawhi. I think he has to, especially if Paul George isn't playing. I think he absolutely has to, because yeah, Josh Okogie could do it, but we're going to need Josh Okogie to guard the other guys like a Russell Westbrook. I mean, I guess maybe Booker could guard Westbrook, but this is going to be all about matchups. And I feel like we're going to be having different conversations each and every single game. You know what I mean? It is going to be, each game is going to have its own story, its own drama, but I absolutely believe that Kevin Durant is going to have to guard Kawhi Leonard, especially if Paul George isn't there. So moving on here. So one reason I wanted to also talk about the Clippers is because Kawhi Leonard and Tyronn Lue had some interesting quotes after tonight's game. I thought at least Kawhi Leonard's quote was interesting. So even though I didn't spend too much time on the game, neither did Tyronn Lue, and this is what Tyronn Lue said after the game. He said, "I don't know. I ain't talking about this game. It's over. We're in the playoffs. I want to focus on that. We didn't play our best game today. We know that. We'll put it behind us and focus on the bigger picture." So that's not like the craziest quote. He's absolutely right. The game happened. It's over. What's done is done. Focus on the playoffs. We're in. That's like something Monty Williams would probably say. But the real quote here, kind of an interesting one. And Kawhi Leonard's not wrong on this. And I appreciate Kawhi Leonard for acknowledging it. He said, he said, "We've got to be better because the last two games, teams have been sitting their stars and we're struggling." That's an actual quote from Kawhi Leonard. I thought that was interesting. He's right. Now, I do believe that the Clippers, with or without Paul George, will play a lot better. They're going to play stronger, faster, etc. They're going to be more focused. But the fact that Kawhi kind of said that is like, like, and again, like we kind of saw tonight, our second and third string guys nearly beat them. And they had Kawhi out there. They had Zubac out there, etc., etc. So I don't know. I just thought that quote was interesting. Let me see. We're just getting to some comments here. Suns role players need to be on point. I totally agree with that. A wet floor sign can guard Westbrook. Look, I don't know why. I just have this feeling that Russell Westbrook's going to come out a lot better because one, he is in the playoffs again, which I think he also talked about after the game. He's like, "I'm just excited to be back in the playoffs and all that." But I think because he is playing against, Kevin Durant and all that drama, and I don't know, I just feel like he's going to come out He's going to be the good Russell Westbrook. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. And it just seems like players like a Russell Westbrook, like a Kawhi Leonard, like a Paul George, it just kind of seems like they always play better against the Suns. I don't know why. Um, so let me take a deep breath, y'all. Let me take a sip of my drink. If you guys have any thoughts, comments about this series, get them in now. Get your questions in now, because we are going to move on. We got other things we want to talk about. I don't really know if this counts as like my Suns Clippers playoff preview, because I'm sure I missed a lot of things that I probably could have talked about. But I do want to talk about the legendary Al McCoy being retired and honored today. I want to talk about Josh Okogie. I want to talk about the wild day in the NBA. So we're going to move on here. Again, get your comments in now, get your questions in now. Let me just read some more comments here and we'll move on. Let's see here. Craig should start to guard Kawhi Leonard. I kind of have a feeling that we might see that in other series. I think it all depends about consistency with Josh Okogie and with Torrey Craig. But I see the vision, though. All right, let's see. You could have KD guard Westbrook. His length could help challenge Westbrook's drives at the rim without help, because if you help, he'll find the shooter. They have to put Okogie on Kawhi. See, this is what Monty Williams and his coaching staff get paid for. They're going to be the ones to sit down, look at the film, and be like, hey, this is who we need to have guard Kawhi, or this is who we need to have guard Russell Westbrook. All right. Real quick before we move on, Chad says, how's Biyombo? We know yet? ? We do not know yet. I don't think there's been much of an update. I believe I read something like Busy was in good spirits and he was icing the knee and everything, but there hasn't been an official word about his injury. I'm sure we'll find out as soon as possible. We'll see. And then Rod also says, what is the possible start time on Sunday? We don't know yet, but I did want to share this. If you guys are looking at the screen right now, this was released today. The Suns do play this Sunday. April, what day is that? Sorry, I should have had this ready. April 16th. The Suns play April 16th. The time and TV is still yet to be determined. Now, as you can see on the screen, the Eastern Conference is pretty much all set, especially those play-in games. You got the 76ers and Nets, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. You got the Celtics and whoever they're going to verse. You got the Cavs and Knicks. That could be a really good series. The Warriors and Kings, which I'm going to talk about later. Bucks. You got the Nuggets, the Grizzlies. It is going to be a crazy playoff series, y'all. Some of these matchups are going to just be high drama, incredible performances all around. I cannot wait for the NBA playoffs. You guys are seeing it on the screen. And real quick, the NBA play-in tournament begins Tuesday. And this is where I was going back to, the Suns having the week off. The play-in tournament is going to be chaos too. It literally is a March Madness style. You got the Pelicans and Thunder. I have some thoughts on the Thunder later. That's going to be a crazy game. You got the Timberwolves and all their drama versus the Lakers. Heat, Hawks. I don't really care who wins that series. And then Bulls, Raptors. I don't really care who wins either. All that starts Tuesday. And I believe it should be over by Friday because the playoffs start Sunday. So also, you guys, here is the bracket as well. The playoff bracket all begins Saturday, April 15th. The Suns play Sunday, April 16th. There is the NBA playoff bracket. More thoughts on all of that later. I did want to move on and talk about the voice of the Phoenix Suns. You guys can see it on my wall right here. You see the shirt back here. I also got his book, The Real Al McCoy, right here. And I also got his bobblehead. I was at this game. Got his bobblehead a long time ago. And a long time ago, I actually made an unboxing video unboxing this bobblehead. So shout out to the legendary Al McCoy. And you guys, my words right here cannot really sum up this man's wonderful career. But I will say this: go on Twitter, go on Instagram, go on the Suns Facebook, and literally just spend 3 minutes and watch the tribute video to Al McCoy. Just watch it, because first off, it was well made, but secondly, there were so many legends that took like a minute and just thanked Al McCoy. I mean, you had Mike Breen, you had Marv Albert, the Clippers longtime broadcaster, Devin Booker, Charles Barkley, so many more, just thanking Al McCoy for his beautiful service. 51 years. Can y'all imagine doing a job for 51 years? Literally the voice of the Phoenix Suns, y'all. And Devin Booker said it perfectly at the end of the tribute video. He was like, even though you're retired, you're still the voice of the Phoenix Suns forever. And that's how it's got to be, y'all. Like, he is the voice of the Phoenix Suns. And don't get me wrong, like, Kevin Ray's great, Tom Leander, Eddie Johnson, that we have a great broadcasting team, but it just doesn't compare to the voice of the Phoenix Suns, y'all. And not even this bobblehead and this beautiful box sums up this man's career. I mean, just super professional, great at his craft. I haven't met Al McCoy, but I've heard incredible things about Al McCoy. Just him being a great person off of the court. And yeah, official source Troy says it perfectly. There will never be another Al. Exactly. Like, there will never be another Al McCoy. There might be some broadcasters that come close, but they're not even scratching the surface. He is in not just the Suns Ring of Honor, not the Suns Hall of Fame, but he is in the NBA, the Basketball Hall of Fame. He's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He is the GOAT. And just shout out to Al McCoy. And again, just take 3 minutes of your time. Y'all can spare 3 minutes. Go take 3 minutes out of your day and just watch that video that they posted. Watch that tribute video, because it is beautiful, y'all. And I'm going to do a terrible Al McCoy impression right now. Shazam! So shout out to Al McCoy, man. Just one of the greatest ever. And again, I could talk about his career all day, but this man has been around for decades and has witnessed countless Phoenix Suns games, countless moments in the Suns history. And I think even he talked about it. Or it might have been Devin Booker who said, like, there's no one better to tell the story of the Phoenix Suns than Al McCoy. And, I've studied the history of this league. I've studied the history of the Suns basketball. I couldn't even touch the way that Al McCoy could break down the history of this league and the history of the Suns. So shout out to Al McCoy, y'all. Just absolutely incredible person, incredible career. Let's move on here. Let me just find the picture first, and we will, I think I have it uploaded actually, and then we will move on. Josh Okogie, as you guys can see on the screen right here, wins the Dan Marley Hustle Award for the 2022-23 season. And I believe that we all kind of saw this coming. Just the way that the growth that Josh Okogie has had on and off the court, especially on the court. All the hustle offensive rebounds, the block shots, the chase down blocks, and the way that his offensive game has grown has been spectacular. And I think he's very mature for his age. He has just been absolutely incredible this season, and just absolutely deserves the Dan Marley Hustle Award. And it is given to the player who shows not only just improvement on the court, but does show the most hustle and is a great defender and chases down loose balls and block shots and all that good stuff. And it represents Dan Marley as best as possible. And I think that Josh Okogie deserves it. There were some moments at times he maybe could have given it to Torrey Craig, but we all knew that it was going to be Josh Okogie. And someone fact check me on this if I'm wrong. Usually they have the Dan Marley Hustle Award there. Uh, I don't think they had it there for some reason. I don't know why. I know that Javon Carter won it, I believe, last year, if I remember correctly. PJ Tucker owns like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, this award goes back many years. And shout out to Josh Okogie for winning the Dan Marley Hustle Award. And yeah, another comment here: signing Okogie was such an underrated move. Exactly, man. Because we all knew his defensive potential, but I just saw so much growth offensively this year from Josh Okogie. So much more confidence and just so much more. So Josh Okogie, fantastic, wins the Dan Marley Hustle Award for this season. Shout out to him. Let me get some more comments here, and then we are going to recap a wild day in the league, and then we'll probably wrap it up. Let me just get some comments. Speaking of Josh Okogie, if J.O. is hitting open threes, it's a wrap. If Josh Okogie's hitting threes, that's a wrap. If Damian Lee, Landry Shamet, Campaign, Chris Paul, I'm serious on that last one. Chris Paul, who had 7 threes in his last game, like if they're all hitting threes, it's over. The thing is, though, the Clippers have a lot of size. They're not super great on defense, but they're not terrible either. But they do have a lot of size. We gotta be zipping that ball around, man. All right, let's see. Logan says, I like the idea of Craig being the 5th starter for size, rebounding for this matchup. Okogie can match up with the faster guards off the Clipper bench, Norman Powell, Trey Mann, Bones Highland. That's actually an excellent point. I agree with that. Tamer says we need to play Shamet a little more. He's a decent defender. I agree with that. I think his defense gets overlooked and can hit a 3 with the floor spread out. That's a good comment. Shout out to Coda Kid. He's been on this channel for a long time. He says, that's when we sucked. I remember that unboxing video. You're a real one if you guys watched that unboxing video of mine. All right, let's see. Nicholas says, thank you, Al. My childhood would not have been the same without you. Amen to that. That's great. Josh is always reminding me of McHale. Lee over Shamet. On defense, his offense is nowhere as McHale right now. Well, yeah, but that's not really a fair like comparison. But I get what you're saying. Anyways, let's move on here. Okay. Let's talk about a wild day in the league. Holy cow. And shout out to, I don't want to get the name wrong. I think it was like Brett somebody on Twitter. And I want to make sure I get this right before I shout it out, because he did a decently good job of summing up what it was a wild day in the league. I want to make sure I'm reading this name right too. Where was it? Well, of course I can't find it when I need it, but shout out to Brett on Twitter. He's a great follow. He summed it up like this. This was how crazy of a day it was in the association. At age 40 something, Udonis Haslam, scored 24 points on really good shooting splits. Cam Thomas, who's a bucket, who's kind of been inconsistent, has inconsistent minutes for some reason, scored 46 points. Kenny Lofton Jr. from the Grizzlies, who low-key can play. He's a little heavier set, out of shape and all that, spent a ton of time in the G League. He had 42 points on great shooting splits. Peyton Pritchard of the Celtics had 30 points, triple-double, by the way. Theo Pinson of the Stinky Mavericks had a triple-double. And then we got the Minnesota Timberwolves drama. And holy cow, this is probably what the entire league, content creators, podcasters are all talking about right now. I'll just give my thoughts on it for anybody who cares. I'm sure you guys saw this. If you didn't see this, you must have been under a rock today or something. So during a timeout, Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson, who Kyle Anderson's had a really good season, by the way. Good player. They exchanged words. Now, from what we can kind of gather, I don't know if this is 110% true, nor will we ever know if this is 100% true. Apparently, Kyle Anderson said like FUB, I'm not going to cuss, FUB or something like that. They exchanged words, and Rudy Gobert legit like punched him, like shoved him, punched him, whatever you want to call it. And there was a scuffle on the bench. For you real Phoenix Suns fans out there, you might remember Markieff Morris and Archie Goodwin had something like that a long time ago, but it was a little bit worse because Morris proceeded to choke Archie Goodwin. I'm not even lying about that. You can look it up. There's photos and everything. But the reason this is a big deal is because, well, one, it's two teammates doing this. This isn't like they are opposing players. This is two teammates doing this. Secondly, this is one of the best defenders in the league in Rudy Gobert, who has been a little controversial and all that. Remembering what he did before the NBA shut down, touching all the mics, his drama with Donovan Mitchell and all that. But another reason it's a big deal is because the Timberwolves are, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, the Timberwolves are fighting for a playoff spot. They're in the play-in tournament. And this happened on the last day of the regular season. Let's be real. It's bad either way. But if this would have happened earlier in the season, it still would have been bad. He still would have received a bunch of flack, probably got a suspension and a fine, which he probably still might. But he did this on just the wrong day to do it. Because what if he does get suspended? What if he does get a fine? And clearly, changes need to be made in Minnesota. Now, I'm not saying they're going to trade Rudy Gobert. And that also goes back to the trade as well. Sorry, my dogs are barking and freaking out. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but they're not going to trade Rudy Gobert, in my personal opinion, because they gave up too much for him. But I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's just a locker room thing, or maybe that team needs more veterans that are older than Rudy Gobert. So this is bad. Like, it's just the wrong time. That's why I said earlier, I believe this would have been not as big of a deal if this would have happened earlier in the season. Still would have been bad either way. And he did put out a statement, or one of his people put out a statement on the Twitter apologizing. And apparently they do have a good relationship, but I don't buy it. And I'm not going to talk like sorry, y'all, my dog's barking. I don't know what the hell's going on out there, but I understand. Like, I saw some people say like, oh, if someone did that to me, I would have swung on them too. I get it. And let's be real. If I was at my other job and someone said that to me, I'd be heated. But like, would you really like punch your coworker or punch your boss or punch your teacher or whatever? Like, you're not gonna, I don't know. You get what I'm saying. And even though these are professional basketball players, it's like, I don't know. And again, maybe I would have reacted differently in that situation. So I guess my point being is the timing of this couldn't have come at a worse time for the Timberwolves. Changes probably need to be made. Sadly, coaches always go first. Not saying that Chris Finch, I believe his name is going to get fired for this, but like, changes need to be made in Minnesota. And this was the worst possible time for this to happen. Sorry, y'all, I got to take a sip of my drink. I'm losing my voice. But does this make Rudy Gobert look kind of worse? Yeah, I think it does. I think, there's been drama and reports with him about Donovan Mitchell. Then there was that COVID thing with him touching all the mics and him being labeled as soft. And I don't know. Rudy Gobert is, I don't know. I just really don't know. Yeah, and RG says it kind of perfectly. Like, no, you wouldn't punch him on the job, but meet him up after work. Exactly. I'm like, people might talk tough and say, like, oh, I would have swung on my coworker, or swung on my teacher, or swung on my basketball teammate or coach if they would have said that to me. But I'm like, you realistically would have done that in the locker room or done it in a parking lot. I think people just try to tweet that stuff. And I'm just like, you're like 50% of the time, that's probably not going to happen. Coda Kid says, I've gotten into arguments with my coworkers, but never would put hands on them. Exactly. Like, I've been in heated arguments with coworkers, et cetera, et cetera. It happens. It's life. That's what happens. But like, Rudy Gobert legit lost it. And again, maybe Kyle, in all fairness to Rudy, because I feel like I've kind of been picking on him, maybe Kyle Anderson said something even worse than FUB. Maybe he did. I don't know. The only people that know are the players that were on the court in the huddle and the coaches and all that. Ooh, but I will say this, though. The way, and this was also brought up on Twitter, the way that Tarian Prince reacted immediately, because there was the verbal exchange. Rudy swung at Kyle Anderson. Excuse me. And then Tarian Prince, like I think Kyle Anderson shoved him. Tarian Prince got up and just pushed Rudy Gobert. And you saw like a chunk load of the Wolves kind of move towards Rudy. Like the way that he got up quick showed a lot. Like clearly there's probably locker room issues, chemistry issues, all that stuff. That was bad. So, and then also I was sort of going to mention this. Unlimited range beat me to it though. Also, Jaden McDaniels is out for how long with the broken hand? Minnesota is falling apart. Excellent defender, by the way, in Jaden McDaniels. Did a great job guarding Kevin Durant recently. Yeah, something happened. He was going to the locker room, just punched the wall, and apparently broke his hand or whatever. Changes need to be made in Minnesota. I just think they gave up way too much to trade Rudy Gobert. That's my personal opinion. Maybe you trade Karl-Anthony Towns. You're not trading Anthony Edwards. I don't know. Anyways, that wasn't all the drama that happened today. Because during the game, if y'all saw it, Mason Plumlee and I believe Terrence Mann also were going at it on the bench a little bit, but apparently they squashed it. I think Tyloo, excuse me. Apparently they worked it out. It wasn't as big of a deal, but you could tell that the tempers were flying today in the NBA. Yeah, it was Bones Highland. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. I totally forgot what I was talking about there. But yeah, there was drama on the Clippers bench, drama in Minnesota, also drama on the coaches front, sort of. I actually like this story. Dwayne Casey is out as Pistons coach, but they're actually going to be moving him to the front office. And apparently this was mostly Dwayne Casey's decision. And I believe from what I read, he pretty much said, it's the smartest move for both sides. And I want to spend more time with my family, that's really great right there. And I think that Dwayne Casey's a good mind to have in that front office, who, by the way, y'all, if the Pistons were just a little bit healthier, they probably would have won a few more games. They were just plagued by injury. I'm not saying they're going to like be back next year and make the playoffs, but like they could be good in a few years. And I think that they got a bright future with what they're building over there. I mean, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, what's that other kid's name? Jalen Duren, I believe, and a few other guys. They got a bright future. But somebody that I don't think has that bright of a future, the Houston Rockets. Yikes. Steven Silas is out as Rockets head coach. I don't know if this was like a personal thing. It must have been tough to have Steven Silas's job. I mean, Eric Gordon, before he was traded, said that there was no improvement in Houston. And they won one more game, I believe, this year than they did last year. So is really Steven Silas all to blame, or is it the roster and the culture? And You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the coaches always go first, but like, is it really Steven Silas's fault? I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. Also, Blazers lost by, and I'm not even joking here, the Blazers lost by 56 points today by the Golden State Warriors. 56 points. Holy cow. And before the Mavericks lost today, they were losing by like 30 or something like that, maybe even more. And I believe the Warriors, like 55 points, were the most, like, I don't know if it was franchise history or like NBA history, but they had like 50 something points in the first quarter. They ended up winning by 56. Also, for you real basketball sickos out there, if you know who Usman Jang is from the Thunder, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 8 for 15 shooting. That's the definition of a high risk, high reward player, a nice project player, good size, quick, young player. I think the Thunder kind of got a low key steal with Usman Jang, excuse me. So yeah, y'all, that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm sure that there's some things that I could have touched on a little bit more with the Suns Clippers first round series. Stay tuned for more. I also had a question in here about Cam Payne and his injury. I don't think we've heard anything, just like we kind of haven't heard anything on Busy and all that. I'm sure they're both fine. Because Monty Williams, it was Secure Mike D who said update on Cam. Monty kind of pretty much summed it up like this: like they're great, they're thankful that these injuries were like contact injuries. You know what I mean? And it could have been worse, God forbid, pretty much is what he said. And again, they're looking good. I mean, especially Busy's looking good. I mean, there's been the reports that he's been walking well and he's in good spirits and icing the knee, campaign and all that. Haven't really heard too much on campaign, but I'm sure he's fine. So we'll have to see. And again, y'all, like I said at the very start of this show, we got a week off. I think we're going to be fine. I believe we'll be fully healthy for the playoffs. Fingers crossed, praying we're going to be healthy. We at least just need to be 90% healthy. And I believe we can get to the NBA Finals. So I'll take your guys' final questions, comments, concerns. Get them in right now. Start typing it away. And we'll start with this question right here from RG. Suns Geek. Suns Geek. Are you glad we are not playing the Warriors in the first round? Okay. Even though I told you guys earlier, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but even though I told you guys earlier to not take the Clippers lightly, to not think we're going to I don't want to tell you guys how to talk. You guys can think what you want, say what you want, whatever. I can't control that. But even though I was saying that stuff earlier about like, we're not going to sweep them, it's not going to be easy, I also had a lot of confidence today. And I even tweeted this out. I said, you know what, you guys, at the end of the day, if you talk to Monty Williams, if you talk to Kevin Durant, Booker, Ayton, Paul, etc., and you ask them this question, oh, you guys glad you didn't get the Warriors in the first round? Or are you glad that you're playing the Clippers or whoever? The players are going to tell you, well, yeah, but like, we want to play who's in front of us. And every matchup's going to be hard. They're going to give you that answer. Especially Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant doesn't care who we're playing in the first round. Kevin Durant's even said, you play who's in front of you. It's hard to win in this league. Everybody who makes the playoffs, even if it is the drama-filled Timberwolves, it's going to be tough. It's hard to win in this league. There's maybe a little side of me that is taking a deep breath and relaxing now because we didn't get the Warriors. Because let's be real, they're the defending champions. They have the greatest shooter of all time in Steph Curry. They have one of the greatest shooters of all time in Klay Thompson. They have championship rings. They have experience. And by the way, the Kings could low-key win that series. Like, don't be surprised if that Kings-Warriors series goes to 7 games. The Kings aren't great on defense, but they are solid on offense. So are the Warriors. I'd be surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if that series goes 7 games. So to answer your question, RG, a little bit, but at the same time, I think it would have been cool to play the Warriors and gotten them out of the way in the first round. Andrew says, what about TJ Warren? He's just sick, apparently, just has the flu or something like that. I'm sure he'll be fine, especially since we have a week off. I mean, if you're still sick after a week, that's concerning. But at the same time, I'm sure he'll be fine. Let me get to some more comments, questions. Will PG-13 come back next round? We'll have to see. We're going to find out probably right before the playoffs start. The Truth Bomb Short says, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great, man. How are you? I appreciate the kind Instagram messages, man. I appreciate you, bro. Coda Kid says, is campaign or DA the X factor? For me, it has to be Cam. That's a great question, Coda Kid, and I appreciate your support, man. I understand why you would say it's campaign, and I do agree with you to an extent, because let's say Chris Paul is slowing down, or let's say he's not making those threes like he's been doing recently, or let's say he's locked up and guarded well, or let's say he gets in foul trouble. We're going to need campaign. We're going to need him extremely. He's going to have to be huge. He's going to have to play in control. He's going to have to do his famous explode to the rim and lay it up and in. He's going to hit those threes. He's going to have to play make. He's going to have to play good defense. But I think it's DeAndre Ayton. I really do. Because again, Ivica Zubac is a serviceable center in this league. He's a big body. Sometimes DeAndre Ayton doesn't do well against big bodies. DeAndre Ayton's going to have to hit that mid-range. He's going to have to set hard screens. He's going to have to pick and pop. He's going to have to pick and roll. It's going to be tough. So I think both of those guys have to be the X factor. I mean, someone summed it up earlier, like in the comments, saying if Josh Okogie is hitting threes, it's a wrap. Like Josh Okogie's got to be an X factor, especially on offense. Okay, let's see. Coda Kid says, I have the Sacramento Kings beating Golden State. I do, but I think it's going to be like 7 games. That would be awesome, by the way, if the Kings could knock out the Warriors. That would be huge. But again, there's like some tough teams still. Like let's pull up the bracket. I mean, let's see. Like the Nuggets would be our second round matchup, I believe. But then like the Grizzlies are still there. And I don't know if the Warriors are even going to get, or excuse me, the Lakers are even going to get to the playoffs. Like it's going to be tough. Like no matter who we verse, it's going to be tough. But I think it'd be awesome if the Kings knocked out the Warriors. All right, let's see. Backcourt highlights. Appreciate you being here. So excited for the playoffs. Me too, man. I'm excited for the play-in tournament. You guys, like, look again. I'll pull up the screen right here, the picture. Look at some of these matchups. I'll pull up the bracket. Actually, it just looks cleaner. Look at some of these matchups, y'all. Like we are going to be in for some high-filled drama, some very talented, crazy games. Like that Pelicans Thunder game could low-key be one of the best games this season, this playoffs. It's going to be nuts. That Cavs Knicks first round series could be big. Nets Sixers is going to be awesome. Kings Warriors, it's going to be crazy, y'all. Like literally, sounds cliche, but get the popcorn ready because we are going to be in for some great basketball. Big task at hand says, talk about the Knicks. Y'all have had a roller coaster of a season. I really like Emmanuel quickly. Hopefully, is Julius Randle healthy for y'all? If he is, that's obviously a huge benefit. I think you guys have had a pretty good season. That Cavs Knicks series is going to be crazy. Y'all keep going in this direction. You guys have a bright future. But you guys have had a great season. You guys got a lot of talent over there. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Truth Bomb asks a question that I've sort of talked about a lot. I've sort of talked about this a lot, especially on the last few live shows. Do you think it's finals or bust for the Suns? Absolutely. It has to be. If it's not finals or bust, if it's not championship or bust, why are the players playing? Why are they out there? From the start of the season, it has been finals, championship, or bust. I think if we're fully healthy or even 90% healthy and we don't go to the finals, then that's, I hate to use this word, but it's a disappointment. If we don't go to the finals with this roster 100%, 90% healthy, it's a disappointment. We have to get to the finals. We absolutely have to get to the finals, y'all. So we sort of talked about this question, and we've gone a little bit over an hour. I'll try to get to all the comments and everything. Also, Josh Okogie's recent flunk or funk, I believe is what you meant to say, or I don't know. Do you think we should look into potentially starting someone else? I don't think so, because I've been talking about this with the Suns Jam Session podcast and everything. By the way, go subscribe to them. Great. We got some stuff planned for the playoffs and all that. They do great content, but I think it honestly is Josh Okogie as of right now. I feel like Monty Williams would have to have a solid reason, and Josh Okogie would have to play pretty terribly for Monty Williams to start Torrey Craig at this point. But I believe that it is Josh Okogie going forward as of right now. But Monty Williams is a coach where he's heavily matchup based. Now, is he going to start Okogie one game and start Craig the next game? Probably not. But if Josh Okogie has a very bad first round, you could probably see Torrey Craig starting. That's a good question, though. M. Lopez says, bring on Russ and the Clippers and LeBron, Lakers and Curry, Warriors, and then the Bucks. Let's run it back. Shout out to my guy, Shot Chucker. What's good, Suns Geek? Haven't been here in a bit. I appreciate you being here, man. Shout out to Mark Jackson. We have a week to get ready, so we will have to be ready. Exactly. This is going to be a tough road to the finals. P.S. Thank you, Brandon. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Mark. Big task at hand says, I think Randall will be ready. I appreciate your thoughts about the Knicks. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a casual Knicks watcher. I've watched a couple of games. I followed the headlines and all that. I try to pay attention to as much basketball as I can. And you guys really do have some great players on your team. And you guys have clearly had a crazy season. I mean, didn't you guys win like 7, 8 games or something like that earlier in the year? And it's been a roller coaster season, y'all. But I mean, you guys are in the playoffs for a reason. Shout out to y'all. And heck, everybody wants to play in New York, so that could be a benefit in your guys' favor. So Jackson's Goated says, this is the best possible matchup for us. So think about it that way. Yeah. And, we're just going to have to see what happens, y'all. So on that note, everybody, I'm a little gassed. Yesterday, I recorded and edited a few of those Phoenix Suns reacting to Suns Twitter series. I actually had 2 of them today that I was supposed to upload and I didn't upload. So I'll put those out tomorrow, if not later tonight. We'll see how my energy is. But I did want to go live because I didn't really do a Suns Clippers post game show. Figured I would just talk about all this chaotic. This, in my opinion, was one of the craziest days in league history, especially to end the season. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, talk about the legend Al McCoy, talk about Josh Okogie. I'll just give my quick thoughts, shot chucker on the Grizzlies. Again, I don't want to sound like an expert here, but they also are a deep team. Even when Ja Morant was, dealing with the suspension and the off the court stuff, they were still winning games. Even though Jaren Jackson Jr. struggles to get rebounds, he is a solid defender. Don't be surprised if he wins Defensive Player of the Year. They are a deep team as well. They have a lot of veterans, but they also have a lot of young talent that can really produce. And then they have Ja Morant, and Desmond Bane is a solid player as well. So I don't know, like, if we're going to see them in the Western Conference Finals or whatever it may be, but the Grizzlies are a solid team. I don't really know. Like, I think it's unlikely they would get to the finals, but could they get to the Western Conference Finals? Could every team, 1 through 10 or whatever the play-in tournament stuff is, get to the finals? Absolutely. But I believe that we have to get to the finals. Let me take a sip of my water and then we're going to get out of here. But yeah, y'all, championship or bust, finals or bust, has to be. And there's been a lot of talk about championship windows, and even former players have even talked about this. Championship windows are short. Kevin Durant's here for what, the next 3 years? Chris Paul is what, 37? Um, we have to win in the next 2 to 3 years. We just have to. Championship windows don't last long. That's all I got to say. Shot Checker says geek certified info. Nice. Hey, I just give my thoughts, y'all. I bring you the knowledge that I have and my personal opinions, and I give it to you. So I appreciate everybody that's in here. This was a really good live show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm telling you guys, strap in, get ready, buckle up. This is going to be a crazy playoffs, and I cannot wait. I don't even care. Like, I'm going to watch it all. I'm going to do my best to try to watch it all. Like, I'm going to be watching on Tuesday those playing games. I think the next playing game is like Thursday. It's going to be chaos. I cannot wait. I'm going to buckle up. I'm going to eat so much popcorn. It is going to be crazy, y'all. And remember, Sunday, Suns Clippers game 1. We don't know when the exact time is at this moment. I will do my best to update you guys on that. Cannot wait. 2 more questions before we get out of here. And this is a good one from Andrew. Geek, when is the next stream? Sometime this week, because I announced it on the Suns Jam Session podcast, which was also on this channel as well, that I want to get those guys on because it's been long overdue. They always have me on their channel, and we found a way to where we can go live on both channels, but I want to get them on, and I want to host, and I want to talk about the Clippers first round series, and I want to do like a Q&A session with them, and we already talked about that. So that's probably the next stream sometime this week. Stay tuned for my YouTube shorts. Stay tuned for maybe a video, but I want to do that. And heck, maybe we'll do like a play, I don't know, like a post-game not Suns live show. You know what I mean? Like maybe we'll do a post-game show for another team, or we'll do like a play-by-play. I don't know. Just stay tuned. Turn on those notifications, y'all. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And then final question here. If we win, do you think that this would be the most impressive mid-season trade ever? Absolutely. It already is one of the most impressive mid-season trades ever. But yeah, if we win the championship, so much, I can't even put it into words. Because first off, it would be the Phoenix Suns' first ever championship. But secondly, KD's legacy and all that stupid stuff would look even better. Matt Ishbia, James Jones, Monty Williams will look like geniuses. And besides the Twitter and social media trolls, the Suns rep would look a lot better. So yeah. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. My brain's fried. Trying to save as much energy as I can for the playoffs because it is going to be crazy. So y'all, again, I know that there's a lot of great Suns content. I know that you guys have your favorites, and I know that you guys watch and listen to a lot of other great Suns content. Like, again, my friends over the Suns Jam Session podcast. But I just encourage you guys to subscribe, and if not, just to keep watching, to follow me on Twitter, to follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and watch my little Suns series that I do over the Suns Twitter series. Check out these post-game live shows and all the videos that I make. I know that I've sort of been slow with the videos as of late, but that's because there really isn't that much to talk about. But again, like once there's actual news and updates, that's when I do the videos. If not, I just do these live shows. So again, I highly encourage you guys to subscribe. If not, that's cool. Just keep on watching. Tell people about Suns Geek. Tell your grandma, tell your cousin, tell your aunt, tell your neighbor. Just tell the Suns fans in your life to check out Suns Geek and to subscribe. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Coda Kid says deuces. Marv Ellis says cheers, Suns Geek. And when we win the ship, I'm done watching basketball, says Coda Kid. If you guys do celebrate, happy Easter to you and your families. If you don't celebrate, that's cool too. I hope you guys had a blessed day. I hope you guys have a blessed week, have a blessed month. Um, and as always, you guys win or lose, no matter what, I'm going to make a video about it. Phoenix Suns for life. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. I love you guys. Peace out. God bless. And as always, go Suns.